Hey everyone, welcome back to SwitchTop. Today, we're counting down the top 20 best Nintendo Switch games you absolutely need to play at least once in your lifetime. These are the games that define what makes the Switch such an incredible console. No filler, just straight up amazing experiences. Let's jump right in. Celeste is a tough-as-nails platformer where you play as Madeline, a young woman trying to climb Celeste Mountain while dealing with her own anxiety and self-doubt. The story touches on mental health in a really genuine way without being preachy about it. Gameplay-wise, you've got simple controls, jump, dash, and climb, but the levels push these mechanics to their absolute limit. You can dash once in any direction before touching the ground, and you can grab onto walls for a brief moment before your stamina runs out. Every screen is basically a puzzle, where you need to figure out the exact sequence of moves to get through. The game has over 700 screens in the main story, and each one introduces new obstacles, like moving platforms, spikes, dash crystals that refill your dash midair, and these bouncy clouds. There's also B-side and C-side levels that are brutally difficult for hardcore players. The soundtrack by Lena Raine is absolutely incredible and matches the emotional beats perfectly. The assist mode lets you adjust game speed, give yourself infinite stamina, or even make yourself invincible if you just want to experience the story. Metroid Dread puts you back in control of Samus Aran as she investigates a mysterious transmission from planet ZDR, suggesting the X-parasites still exist. Once you land, you're ambushed by a Chozo warrior who strips away your abilities and leaves you stranded deep underground. The story slowly reveals the dark history of the Chozo and Samus's connection to them. The core gameplay is classic Metroid exploration. You're constantly finding new power-ups like missiles, the Morph Ball, and various beam weapons that let you access previously blocked areas. Combat feels incredibly smooth, with a melee counter system that rewards perfect timing, letting you stun enemies and follow up with devastating attacks. The big twist here is the EMMI zones, sections of the map where nearly indestructible robots hunt you relentlessly. You can't fight them normally, so you have to sneak around, use your phantom cloak to turn invisible, or just run like hell. Getting caught usually means instant death, unless you nail a frame-perfect counter. These sections create genuine tension that breaks up the exploration perfectly. Boss fights are tough but fair, testing everything you've learned. Hollow Knight drops you into Hallownest, a vast underground kingdom of insects that's fallen into ruin. You play as a silent knight, exploring this decaying world, uncovering the tragedy of what happened here. The kingdom was infected by something called the Radiance, a forgotten god that spread a plague, driving bugs mad. The more you explore, the more you piece together how the Pale King tried to stop it, and why it failed. Combat is all about timing and patience. You have a nail for melee attacks, and can learn spells that use soul, which you collect by hitting enemies. Healing also uses soul, so you're constantly deciding whether to play aggressive or safe. The charm system is fantastic. You equip different charms that modify your abilities, like dealing more damage, getting extra health, or changing how your spells work. There are over 40 charms and limited slots, so building your loadout is part of the strategy. The map system is old school. You need to find Cornifer in each area to buy the map, then fill it in as you explore. Movement abilities like the dash, wall jump, and double jump open up new areas in true Metroidvania fashion. Super Mario Bros. Wonder shakes up the 2D Mario formula in ways we haven't seen in years. Bowser merges with a castle in the new Flower Kingdom and starts wreaking havoc, so Mario and friends team up with Prince Florian to stop him. The story is simple, but the game is all about those moment-to-moment surprises. The Wonder Flower is the game changer here. Grab one in a level and reality just breaks. Pipes start walking around, Mario might turn into a Goomba stack, the level could flip to a musical rhythm game, or everything becomes a silhouette. Every single level has a completely unique wonder effect, and you genuinely never know what's coming. Regular power-ups are here, like Fire Flower and Super Mushroom, but new ones, like the Elephant power-up, let you swing your trunk to hit enemies and blocks, spray water, and your weight breaks certain platforms. The Drill power-up lets you dive through the ground and ceiling, opening up vertical exploration. The badge system is brand new. You equip one badge per level that gives you a special ability, like wall jumping, floating after jumps, or starting with a power-up. Ori and the Will of the Wisps continues the story of the spirit guardian Ori as they search for their owl friend Ku, who crashed in a decaying land plagued by a mysterious corruption. The story deals with loss, sacrifice, and finding hope in dark times, and it hits emotionally hard without relying on dialogue. Gameplay expands massively from the first game. Instead of just ability points, you now have a full combat system with different spirit weapons like a sword, bow, spear, and hammer that you can equip and swap between. Combat feels way more active and satisfying. Movement is still the star though. You can grapple to points, bash off projectiles and enemies to launch yourself in any direction, burrow through sand, and even swim underwater in certain areas. These abilities chain together to create this incredibly fluid movement, where you're basically flying through levels once you master it. The difficulty system lets you adjust damage and enemy aggression, making it accessible while still challenging. Side quests have you helping various creatures around the world, giving you spirit shards that act like passive abilities, faster movement, extra damage, health regeneration, and tons more. You can equip multiple shards and swap them anytime. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition brings the Wii Classic to Switch, with improved visuals and a whole new epilogue story. The game is set on the frozen bodies of two titans, the Bionis and Mechonis, who killed each other in an ancient battle. You play as Shulk, a young researcher who gains the Monado, a legendary sword that can cut through Mekon's mechanical enemies from the Mechonis that are attacking his home. The story is genuinely epic, spanning the entire body of the Bionis, with twists that completely change how you see everything. Combat is real-time but tactical. You auto-attack while moving around, and positioning matters a lot. You build up arts, special abilities with cooldowns that you activate manually. The Monado gives you vision abilities, where you see enemy attacks before they happen, letting you warn your party and change equipment or use specific arts to counter them. Party management is key. You've got 7 characters total, each with unique roles and arts. The affinity system tracks relationships between characters, unlocking new abilities and story scenes. The world is absolutely massive, with 5 major areas to explore, each the size of several open-world zones. Metroid Prime Remastered brings the GameCube masterpiece to Switch, with completely overhauled visuals and modernized controls. You're Samus Aran, investigating a distress signal from a space pirate frigate orbiting planet Talon 4. After an opening escape sequence, you crash land on the planet and discover the pirates are experimenting with a dangerous substance called Phazon. The planet itself was devastated by a Phazon meteor impact years ago, and you're uncovering what happened while stopping the pirates. This is Metroid in first person. You're exploring interconnected areas, scanning everything for lore, and finding upgrades that open new paths. The scan visor is essential, letting you analyze enemies, objects, and the environment to fill out your logbook. Combat is deliberate. You lock onto enemies and strafe around them while shooting. Different beam weapons are effective against different enemy types, so you're constantly switching. The morph ball sections transition to third person and feature puzzles using bombs. Missiles, super missiles, and power bombs handle tougher enemies and obstacles. Boss fights are pattern-based and require you to use specific weapons. Pikmin 4 is about a rescue team member searching for Captain Olimar and other castaways who crashed on a mysterious planet. You create your own character and team up with Ochi, a space dog who becomes your best friend and completely changes how Pikmin works. The story is light but charming, focusing on finding the stranded explorers while dealing with the planet's wildlife. Gameplay has you commanding Pikmin, small plant creatures with different abilities. Red Pikmin are fireproof and strong. Blue Pikmin can survive in water. Yellow Pikmin conduct electricity and can be thrown high. Rock Pikmin can break hard objects, and Ice Pikmin freeze enemies and water. You throw them at obstacles, enemies, and treasures to progress. Ochi is the game changer. He can carry objects, swim, break walls, and even carry you plus a bunch of Pikmin on his back. You can ride him to traverse the map faster, or send him off independently with Pikmin while you command another group. This dual command system makes multitasking easier than ever. The structure has you exploring different areas during the day, with time management being important but not stressful. Night expeditions are new. You defend a base from waves of enemies using specific Pikmin types. Dragon Quest XI's tells the story of a young man who discovers he's the reincarnation of an ancient hero called the Luminary. On his 16th birthday, he's marked with a special symbol and sets out to learn about his destiny. The problem is, the current king declares him a servant of darkness and hunts him down, forcing you to flee and gather allies while uncovering the truth about your past and the world's history. The story goes to some genuinely dark places and features one of the best plot twists in JRPG history that happens around the midpoint. Combat is traditional turn-based, with a party of up to 4 characters from your full roster of 8. Each character has unique skill trees you invest points into, unlocking new abilities and passive stat boosts. You can move around during battle, but its purely visual positioning doesn't matter. The pep system builds up during combat, and when characters are pepped, they glow and can unleash powerful combination attacks with other pepped party members. Exploration is a mix of towns, dungeons, and an overworld you traverse on foot, horseback, or by various vehicles you unlock. Crafting is handled at forges, where you manually hammer materials into equipment with a minigame that affects the item's quality.
Well done!
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 takes place on Alrest, a world where humanity lives on the backs of massive creatures called Titans that walk through a cloud sea. The Titans are dying, and civilization is fighting over the remaining habitable space. You play as Rex, a salvager who dives into the cloud sea for treasure, who gets killed but is revived by Pyra, a legendary blade, a living weapon that grants her driver immense power. Pyra asks Rex to take her to Elysium, a paradise at the top of the world tree where humanity supposedly originated. The story is about faith, purpose, and what it means to live in a dying world. Combat is real-time and built around the driver and blade system. You control drivers who are bonded to blades that determine your weapon and abilities. Auto attacks charge up arts, special moves with cooldowns. Using arts in specific sequences charges up specials, powerful attacks ranked from level 1 to 4. Chain attacks let all party members unleash specials in sequence for massive damage. The combat system is complex, but incredibly satisfying once it clicks. You can collect dozens of blades throughout the game by opening core crystals, and each has unique abilities for both combat and field exploration.
Anchor shot! Ha! Why not? Yeah! Gah! Ha! See, Grumps? I'm getting better.
Persona 5 Royal puts you in the shoes of a high school student who transfers to Tokyo after being falsely accused of assault. You and your friends discover the ability to enter the Metaverse, a cognitive world where people's twisted desires manifest as palaces. Your group becomes the Phantom Thieves, literally stealing the corrupt hearts of adults who abuse their power, criminals, abusive teachers, and corrupt politicians. The story tackles heavy themes like systemic injustice and societal pressure without being preachy. Gameplay splits between dungeon crawling and daily life simulation. During the day, you attend school, hang out with friends, work part-time jobs, and build relationships that directly affect your combat abilities. At night, you infiltrate palaces, which are elaborate themed dungeons representing each villain's warped psychology. Combat is turn-based with a focus on exploiting enemy weaknesses. Hit a weakness and you get an extra turn, which can chain into all-out attacks when you knock all enemies down. You summon personas, manifestations of your psyche that give you different abilities and elemental attacks. You can collect and fuse hundreds of personas to create stronger ones. Dead Cells is a roguelike action platformer where you play as a sentient mass of cells possessing a corpse in a sprawling, interconnected prison. There's no traditional story. Instead, you piece together what happened to this cursed island through scattered lore and environmental details as you repeatedly die and try again. Each run has you fighting through procedurally generated levels filled with enemies, traps, and secrets. Combat is fast and responsive. You've got 2 weapon slots and 2 skill slots that you can fill with melee weapons, ranged weapons, shields, grenades, turrets, and traps. Weapons come in different rarities, with random modifiers that synergize in interesting ways. You might get a sword that causes bleeding and boots that spread oil, then use a fire grenade to ignite everything. The mutation system lets you pick 3 passive abilities that define your build: extra health, damage bonuses, or special effects. Between levels, you spend cells you've collected to permanently unlock new weapons and abilities, though you lose any unspent cells when you die. The progression system is brilliant because even failed runs make you stronger. Movement is smooth, with wall climbing, ground pounds, and teleportation abilities you unlock. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is the first fully 3D Kirby game, and it nails the transition. Kirby gets sucked through a vortex to a post-apocalyptic world where nature has reclaimed an abandoned civilization. The Waddle Dees from Dreamland have been kidnapped by the Beast Pack, so Kirby teams up with Elfalin, a mysterious creature, to rescue them and uncover why this world was abandoned. The story goes to surprisingly dark places for a Kirby game, while keeping that signature charm. Gameplay is classic Kirby. You inhale enemies to copy their abilities, giving you access to different movesets. The twist is mouthful mode, where Kirby stretches around large objects he can't swallow. Swallow a car and you're driving around running things over. Swallow a vending machine and you're shooting cans as projectiles. Swallow a traffic cone and you're drilling through the ground. It's absurd and hilarious. Copy abilities have been upgraded too. You can evolve them by finding blueprints and spending coins at Waddle Dee Town, your hub area that grows as you rescue more Waddle Dees. Sword can become Gigant Sword with longer range. Bomb can become Chain Bomb that creates explosive chains. Combat is simple but satisfying, and the game introduces dodging, which is new for Kirby. Fire Emblem Three Houses puts you in the role of a mercenary who becomes a professor at the Officers' Academy in Garreg Mach Monastery. You choose one of 3 houses to lead the Black Eagles, Blue Lions, or Golden Deer, each representing a different nation with their own students and ideologies. The first half is about teaching your students and building relationships, but a major time skip splits the story into a brutal war, where the 3 houses you once lived alongside are now enemies. Each route reveals different perspectives on the conflict and the truth behind the church that runs the continent. The story is genuinely complex, with no clear right answer. Gameplay alternates between monastery exploration and tactical battles. At the monastery, you explore the grounds, talk to students, complete quests, and participate in monthly activities. The teaching system lets you customize each student's growth by focusing their lessons on specific weapon types and skills. Combat is classic Fire Emblem grid-based strategy, where positioning and unit matchups matter. Weapon durability returns, magic has limited uses, and permadeath is optional.
Here goes.
I'll give it my all.
Ready.
Hades 2 continues the roguelike formula of the first game, but puts you in control of Melinue, princess of the underworld, and sister to Zagreus from the first game. Kronos, the Titan of Time, has escaped his prison and taken over the underworld, imprisoning Hades and the whole family. Melinue has been raised and trained by Hecate to take back the underworld and stop Kronos from conquering Olympus. The story unfolds across runs, just like the first game, with new dialogue and plot developments after each death. Combat feels faster and more aggressive than the first game. You've got 6 weapon types that completely change your playstyle, from a witch's staff for magical attacks to a moonstone axe for heavy damage. Boons from the Olympian gods modify your abilities. With their powers, Zeus adds lightning, Poseidon adds knockback, Aphrodite weakens enemies. The new Omega Cast and Omega Special moves are charged versions of your abilities that deal massive damage. Hexes are new too, permanent upgrades you craft using resources gathered during runs that provide passive bonuses. The structure now has you ascending from the underworld toward the surface, rather than escaping, with completely new environments and enemy types.
For what you did to me.
Super Mario Odyssey sends Mario on a globe-trotting adventure across various kingdoms to stop Bowser from forcing Princess Peach into marriage. After Bowser destroys Mario's cap, he teams up with Cappy, a sentient hat whose sister, Tiara, was captured to be part of Peach's wedding outfit. Together, they chase Bowser across bizarre locations: a realistic city with regular humans, a food-themed kingdom, prehistoric jungles, and underwater depths. The story is light, but the kingdoms themselves tell visual stories through their design. The capture mechanic is revolutionary. Throwing Cappy lets you possess enemies and objects, gaining their unique abilities. Capture a bullet bill to fly through obstacles. Possess a T-Rex to smash through walls. Take over a Goomba to stack with others and reach high places. There are over 50 different captures, each fundamentally changing how you interact with the world. Movement is incredibly fluid, with Mario's expanded moveset, including cap throws, dives, long jumps, and wall jumps that can be chained together for crazy speed. Each kingdom is a dense sandbox filled with power moons to collect, over 800 total across all kingdoms. Some are hidden behind platforming challenges, others require puzzles, and many reward exploration. Bayonetta 3 brings back the Umbra Witch for her most ambitious adventure yet. Bioweapons called homunculi are destroying parallel universes, and Bayonetta must track down other versions of herself across the multiverse to stop them before they reach her reality. The story jumps between dimensions, showing different Bayonettas, and introduces Viola, a witch in training who becomes playable. Things get wild with multiverse shenanigans and revelations about Bayonetta's past across dimensions. Combat is the same stylish character action the series is known for. Light and heavy attacks that combo into elaborate strings. Dodging at the last second triggers Witch Time that slows enemies, and you summon demons to attack. The big addition is Demon Slave, which lets you directly control the massive demons you summon. You can switch between Bayonetta's combos and commanding your demon to attack simultaneously, creating a controlled chaos feel. You've got multiple demons to unlock, each with unique movesets and abilities. Bayonetta can also equip different weapons on her hands and feet that completely change her combo routes. Swords, yo-yos, guns, and more bizarre options. The naive angel mode tones down the sexualized aspects, if that's not your thing. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom stands as one of the most unforgettable experiences on Nintendo Switch, thanks to how boldly it expands open-world design and player freedom.
Hyrule is no longer just a vast land to cross, but a layered world made of the surface, floating sky islands, and the haunting depths below, each pushing exploration in new vertical and horizontal ways. Movement feels liberating, whether you are climbing, gliding, diving, or finding creative routes through the environment. The core mechanics redefine problem solving. Ultra Hand lets you build vehicles, tools, and structures from almost anything. Fuse turns weapons and shields into customizable combat options. Recall manipulates time to reverse mistakes or create clever solutions. And Ascend transforms level design by letting you pass through ceilings and terrain. These systems encourage experimentation, making every challenge feel personal rather than scripted. Combat and survival remain familiar yet deeper, as crafted gear and player-made contraptions can completely change encounters. Storytelling takes a stronger role than before, guiding you through a mystery tied to Hyrule's fate, while still respecting player freedom and curiosity. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is widely considered a once-in-a-lifetime RPG, thanks to how seamlessly it blends large-scale exploration, deep combat systems, and an emotionally grounded story. The world of Ionios is vast and interconnected, filled with diverse regions that naturally encourage exploration, side quests, and discovery without ever feeling empty or repetitive. Combat mixes real-time action with tactical planning, allowing a large party to fight together while focusing on positioning, ability timing, and class synergy. Systems like chain attacks and interlink reward smart coordination, turning difficult battles into satisfying tests of strategy rather than raw stats. Character progression is flexible and engaging, letting party members switch classes, experiment with different roles, and build setups that fit your preferred playstyle. What truly elevates the experience is the story, which follows a group of soldiers from opposing sides forced to question the endless cycle of conflict shaping their world. The narrative focuses heavily on character bonds, loss, purpose, and the value of life, giving emotional weight to both main quests and optional content. Hollow Knight Silksong is often seen as a once-in-a-lifetime Nintendo Switch experience, thanks to its refined blend of precision gameplay, fluid movement, and atmospheric storytelling. The game builds on the Metroidvania foundation with faster, more acrobatic traversal, as Hornet's agility allows for vertical movement, diagonal attacks, and tight platforming that demand focus and skill. Combat is deliberate and punishing, but deeply rewarding, pushing players to learn enemy patterns, master timing, and make smart use of Hornet's unique abilities. Exploration is central, with the Kingdom of Farloom unfolding as a dense, interconnected world filled with varied biomes, hidden routes, and meaningful side paths that encourage curiosity. Progression revolves around tools, crests, and upgrades that subtly reshape both combat and movement, letting players tailor their approach while maintaining a strong sense of challenge. Resource management plays a key role, as silk gathered in battle can be used for healing or powerful skills, creating a constant tension between offense and survival. The story is delivered through environmental details and character encounters rather than exposition, following Hornet's journey through a mysterious land shaped by conflict and ambition. And there you have it, the top 20 best Nintendo Switch games you absolutely must play once in your lifetime. These games represent the best of what the Switch has to offer, from epic RPGs to challenging platformers and everything in between. What games would make your list? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let me know which of these you've already played. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to SwitchTop for more Nintendo Switch content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.